Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos de Ramaschal, Ve'ela da'adav v'itkar mi mechayev. Let's begin. Ve'ela da'adav v'itkar mi mechayev. Here in the Gemara, we were analyzing the questioner of Bibi Bar Abaye. And we were asking that the questioner of Bibi Bar Abaye doesn't seem to make sense. No matter how we learn it, either it won't make sense or it won't fit into his words. The Gemara said, Bibi Bar Abaye asked, what's the din if somebody placed bread in an oven on Shabbos? And now he wants to remove it so that it doesn't turn into an Isser Chatas, into a Chiyuv Chatas. Do we permit him to remove it or not? The issue is that removing bread from the oven is also midrabanan. So did the Rabbanan remove their Isser so that an Isser Chiyuv Chatas doesn't develop? So it doesn't come to an Isser Torah of baking on Shabbos? Or did the Rabbanan leave their Isser in place even though it'll lead to a Chiyuv Chatas, to an Isser Torah happening that he'll bake the bread? So the Gemara asked, how can we understand this questioner of Bibi Bar Abaye so that it should make sense and fit in his words? Let's look at the different possible ways of understanding it, and we'll see that none of them make sense and fit in his words. So the first possible explanation is that the individual put it in by mistake and never realized his mistake. He stayed in this state of shaygig throughout. He put it in without realizing it. He never came to realize it. But then the question is, Lamani Tiru, who would they make it mutter for? Did they allow him to remove it? Did they not allow him to remove it? Who's the him? This person is completely unaware that he did an Avera. So that interpretation of the case simply doesn't make sense. And the other two possible interpretations don't fit into the words of Rav Bibi Bar Abaye's question. The second possible way of learning it is that he originally put it in by mistake and then he realized his mistake. And now he wants to remove it. Did we permit him to remove it or not? But then Rav Bibi Bar Abaye would not have said before he comes to a Chiyuv Chatas. Did we permit him to remove it? There is no Chiyuv Chatas for such a person. The din is that a person who's Chayav Chatas, he's only Chayav Chatas if he's shaygig from beginning to end. There's never a state that he's not shaygig. This individual, he initially was in a state of shaygig, but then he realized his mistake. He's not anymore shaygig. So there is no Chiyuv Chatas. Rav Bibi Bar Abaye would not have asked before he comes to the Chiyuv Chatas, or do we not allow him to remove it before he comes to the Chiyuv Chatas? There is no Chiyuv Chatas. The third possible way of interpreting the case is that he put it in on purpose, and now he wants to remove it before it becomes baked on Shabbos. But then there's no Chiyuv Chatas either. If it was on purpose, the issue at hand is an Isser of Skila. So Tosfos now is focusing on the second way the Gemara said we can't fit into the words of Rav Bibi Bar Abaye, and that is that he did it initially by mistake and then came to realize his mistake, and the question is, do we permit him to remove it or not? In order that it shouldn't become baked on Shabbos and he'll do an Isser Minateru. The question we asked is that Rav Bibi Bar Abaye says before it comes to a Chiyuv Chatas. In this case, there is no Chiyuv Chatas since he's not a Shaygig anymore. Tosfos asks, Tema, it's a wonder, the Lishni, that he should have answered, Ema, say in the words of Rav Bibi Bar Abaye, Lidei Isser Chatas, to Isser Chatas. Why don't we just answer that the case that Rav Bibi Bar Abaye is referring to as a person who put it in by mistake? And then afterwards he realizes his mistake. And he wants to know, can I remove it before it leads to an Isser Torah or not? And the question is, in the question of Rav Bibi Bar Abaye should be changed, not could he remove it before he comes to a Chiyuv Chatas, because in this case there is no Chiyuv Chatas, since he's not shaygig anymore, but rather before he comes to an Isser Chatas. This is a case of an Isser Chatas. There's an issue of Chatas here, in the sense that there was initially shaygig. There's no actual Chiyuv Chatas because it's missing the condition that it should be shaygig throughout. So why don't we just say that Rav Bibi Bar Abaye was referring to that case, and in order that it should fit in his words, we'll change his words, Kaidem Shiyav Eladei Isser to Kaidem Shiyav Eladei Isser Chatas, before he comes to an Isser Chatas. This is a case where there's no Chiyuv Chatas because it's missing the condition of being shaygig at the end. It's just an Isser Chatas since it was shaygig at the beginning, so it's related to the case of Chatas. Just like we say nearby later on, Kaidem Shiyav Eladei Isser Skila, the answer the Gemara finally gave, he gave two answers, but the second answer it gave is that Rav Bibi Bar Abaye is referring to a case that it was done b'mezid. And regarding our question that then there's no Chiyuv Chatas, so why does he ask? Could he remove it before he comes to a Chiyuv Chatas? Change it to the words before it comes to an Isser Skila. And again, there's no Chiyuv Skila in that case. We'll see in a different Tosfos. There's an Isser Skila because it was b'mezid, it's related to Skila. There's no actual Skila for whatever reason. We say Isser Skila. Why don't we also say it was at the mistake at the beginning, it was a shaygig, and then it developed, then he realized, so there's no Chiyuv Chatas, but there is an Isser Chatas. So to summarize, Tosfos simply asks, why don't we explain that Rav Bibi Bar Abaye's question is a case where he originally did it shaygig, then he came to realize, and Rav Bibi Bar Abaye's question is, do we permit him to remove it, Kaidem Shiyav Eladei Isser Chatas, and not Kaidem Shiyav Eladei Chiyuv Chatas?